Diabetes Revolution podcast with Dr. Sarah Townley, the type 2 diabetes coach, clinical pharmacist, and mom of 6 angels. You don't have to struggle and fight with your blood sugars for the rest of your life. I'm here to teach you the skills you need to control and even reverse this disease. There is such a thing as getting off your meds and creating a future free from diabetes. And you can have it too. Let's get down to business. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Diabetes Revolution podcast with me, Dr. Sarah Townley. And I wanted to just apologize for the last episode. It was such a good one though, right? Your food doesn't have to suck. It was such a good one. When I was recording that, I don't know what happened, but my good microphone that I'm using right now, that just has awesome sound quality, wasn't working. And so I caught the audio on my laptop microphone. And so that's why it sounded so tinny and at times like you couldn't maybe even hear me very well. But you know what? Here's what I want to tell you about that. The perfectionist in me wanted to scrap it, to do it over, to get it perfect, right? I wanted to put it out in the world with A+ sound quality. But you know, if I was actually going to do that, I wouldn't have gotten it out on time. I would have, procrastinated it and not gotten it done in time for the Monday publish. And the bottom line, people, is that y'all need this valuable information. You need that information now, like yesterday. And so I just have to let go of that A+ perfectionist person in me and get that B- work out there into the world. And why I'm telling you this is because I want you to think about where in your life you're attached to it being perfect, to the extent that you actually aren't getting it done. Can you be okay with B- work and still make progress? Still get it out there? Still show up? Or are you hanging back, trying to get it perfect, and that's actually stopping you from getting anywhere? Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that came up in a coaching conversation I was having with a client. It's so good. We were talking about when you get stuck, and for this person, he had gone off his eating plan and wasn't able to get back on track for several days. Who hasn't been there, right? I mean, like how many times have you gotten off track, eaten the wrong thing or didn't follow your plan, or even if it's like didn't do your workout or didn't get your meditation in, or I don't know, whatever it is, that habit that you're trying to create and ingrain in your daily life that you drop the ball on. Sometimes that moment that we go off track with that plan, we get stuck. And the time between when we got off track to the time we get back on track can span a long period of time, right? I'm talking like not hours, but I'm talking about days, weeks, months for some of us before we finally decide we want to get back on track. So what the heck are we doing in that time that we're staying stuck? Well, for many of us, we're going to be stuck in guilt and shame, right? Beating ourselves up and feeling really bad about ourselves, believing that we're not capable, that we'll never get it together, that something is wrong with us, right? And in that time that we're feeling all that shame, what are we doing? We're doing self-destructive behaviors, right? We're not choosing wisely. We're not taking care of ourselves. What else are we doing? We're staying stuck in regret. For this client, it was really interesting because he was having those same experiences, but he was also having the additional experience that I can relate to for sure, which is consciously knowing that he is making poor decision after poor decision that is going to stop him from getting back on track, but he's doing it consciously, almost like in this self-destructive, it doesn't matter anyway, I'm a hopeless case sentiment. Okay, so why I wanted to address this on this podcast today is because it's so fresh in my mind, and I want to talk about what to do, right, when you're in that space. And when you're feeling a lack of motivation and you're feeling like you don't want to, like you know what you should do, but you just don't want to do it. Let's talk about all of that, because literally this information is universal. You can use this with anything. We're going to specifically apply this to your diet, to your lifestyle, whatever it is that you're habit forming that you're trying to create in your life to really heal and take care of yourself, when it comes to your diabetes or any other health condition that you want to heal from. But you can apply this information to anything, right? Like wanting to, for example, if you want to change your relationship with your partner or your kids, and you're really working on doing something with a plan in a certain way and you get off track. Okay. Or maybe with your finances, like you're really on a budget and you're working toward a goal and you get off track and then you get stuck and you're not able to get right back on track and continue to make progress toward the direction that you've been going in. So it doesn't matter. It just matters that you have a plan, you go off plan, and then you want to get back on track with your plan, right? You want to shorten the period of time that you're staying stuck in beating yourself up, regretting your decision, feeling hopeless and helpless, all of that. You want to be able to shorten that period of time. And here is the secret. You can be back on track with the next decision that you make. Many of us just stay stuck in indecision. We stay stuck in inaction. We are not doing anything because we haven't made a strong, powerful decision that we're going to get back on track with however that looks to you. It literally is in the next decision that you need to make. The time you're staying stuck in overwhelm and inaction is up to you. You get to decide how long you're going to stay in the land of this, I'm a hopeless case. I can't get it together. I'm not going to be able to go where I want to go. So the way that I like to frame this is that when I was playing around with this, I noticed that when I would get off track for however I deemed that to be, right? It could be as simple as, if you're a perfectionist, it can be as simple as eating one extra square of chocolate than what you wrote down on your plan. But it could be any way that you deem as going off your plan. So I would notice that for me, I liked to use the going to sleep and waking up the next day as the reset button, as the do-over, okay? And I got sick of that, because if I got off track with lunch, then what would happen was, with my all or nothing perfectionist thinking, I would just go, stay off track and continue to make poor decisions for the rest of the day because my brain had qualified the whole day as a loss. Okay, these are just judgments. These are just literally thoughts happening in your mind. I was looking at my day thinking, you've already blown it. You might as well just go ahead and eat out whatever you want and have the dessert and do whatever, not even work out, like do whatever you feel like doing because you already screwed it up. I know it sounds illogical, but many of us have this same process of thought and can stay stuck in that thought process for many, many days or weeks, right? And so I want to show you that your brain is just using that argument to keep you seeking pleasure, avoiding discomfort, and conserving energy, right? It's designed, it's wired to drive you to do what feels good, to get very, very comfortable, and to do what's easy. And so this is a really easy argument that wins time and time again, at least it did for me, to get me to go along with that agenda, that instant gratification agenda, okay? And I want to help you with that thought process for sure today. But what I want to just point out right this moment is that you can be back on track with the very next decision and not have to qualify the whole day as a loss, the whole week as a loss, the whole life as a loss, right? You can just decide, I am going to get back on track with the very next decision that I'm going to make. What would that look like for you? Okay, I want to tell you a story to help illustrate this. I had a client who had lost her husband and was in a lot of grief still, and her anniversary was approaching. Her wedding anniversary was approaching. And with that, days leading up to that, she could feel the emotions, the grief, the dread for that day coming. And she noticed that in the middle of the night, very early morning hours of that wedding anniversary, she woke up and she went into the kitchen and she started to eat chocolate candy. And for a long time, she hadn't been eating that kind of stuff. She had made a lot of progress. She lost like 20 pounds, blood sugars looking awesome. And so here she finds herself on her wedding anniversary, feeling very grief-stricken, lonely, eating chocolate candies. And she got into like the fifth candy and she thought, I am not going to keep going. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to destroy all of my progress, all of the hard work that I have done to get where I'm at right now. I am not going to eat any more chocolate. And so she made the powerful decision that she was done. But you know what else she did? She tied it to an action immediately. She took the candies and she put them in a bag and she brought them out to the end of the driveway and put them in the garbage dumpster at 3:00 in the morning in the dark. Okay? That is what I'm talking about when I'm saying you make a powerful decision and tie it to an immediate powerful action. Okay? So what would that look like for you? Well, it could look different ways, different days, right? And so I'll just share with you some of the ways that I've noticed that have helped me make my decision solid. Take my decision outside of my brain and put it out into the world as a thing, in motion. Okay? Put me in motion toward my goal. That has looked like going for a run. That has looked like getting on my Facebook group and telling my community that I need a little extra support and I'm starting a quote, whatever fast it was, like a 72-hour fast or a 48-hour fast or whatever it was, okay? It has looked like just eating a really healthy meal next, right? And so it could look lots of different ways. It just needs to be powerful and it needs to be tied. Your decision needs to be tied to an action. I mean, I could even qualify as like telling my husband, I am not going to eat that. And it just gets it outside of my brain and puts that decision outside so that I can commit to it and hold myself accountable to it because it's outside of me. So that is what I want to tell you about the process of getting back on track. But what if you're still stuck in the middle of that time, in that window where you're still stuck between getting off track and getting back on track, and you're just lacking motivation and your brain is telling you, I just don't want to. Okay. What if you're stuck in this space and you're like, I don't really want to eat the healthy meal. I'd rather have the nachos with the cheese and the salsa and all of the yummy stuff, right? I don't want to choose wisely at this restaurant. I want to just indulge. I don't want to go work out. I'd rather go home and sit on the couch with Netflix. How many things does this come up for you? I mean, you could put this in any area of your life, right? Like, I don't want to do laundry. So me and my client got into an easy example of applying this because what you want to do is really start with the easy stuff. Okay, this is just like a muscle. You want to start with the light weights, and when you get stronger, you can lift heavier. So let's start with something easy like laundry. Okay, you look at the laundry and you're like, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go over there and deal with that mess. I mean, I can relate to this in so many different ways. In my house with 6 kids and a husband, oh my goodness, I don't want to cook dinner, right? I don't want to get up in the middle of the night. And so what do you do when your brain is objecting to you and your greater, higher plan for yourself, right? You need to get the laundry done. You need to cook the dinner. You really do want to take care of your family. You really do want to have a clean house, right? But in the moment, you don't want to. So what do? There are 3 tools that I taught my client And they were so fun and so good that I had to share them with everybody, with you on this podcast. And the first thing I want to tell you is that, of course, you don't want to. Okay, your brain, like we were talking about, has something called a motivational triad. It's its survival wiring. It's what's kept us alive for thousands and thousands of years, okay? It is designed to help you make decisions in the moment that will keep you alive. And it has 3 priorities. It's called the motivational triad. It wants you to seek pleasure, do what feels good. It wants you to get out of any discomfort, any pain. It wants you to get comfortable and avoid pain. And then the third thing it wants you to do is conserve energy. Do it with the least amount of effort. Do what is easy. So think about this. Most people around you that you encounter that live around us are walking around and walking through their lives honoring their motivational triad. And guess what? We happen to live in a country that has endless offerings to exploit this wiring. Right? It's got so many ways for us to seek pleasure right there available to us. Think of all the ways people do this, right? Not just with food, but with alcohol and drugs and pornography and spending and vacationing. And just think about all the ways that we can right now seek pleasure. And some of them are just, right at arm's length, scrolling your Facebook, right? And so that if you know your brain is wired to have you seeking pleasure, it's no wonder that it directs you to eat the yummy food, right? It directs you to, choose something delicious and indulgent at every opportunity. Now think about its second priority. It wants you to avoid discomfort and pain. And so when you're experiencing an urge, when you're in physical hunger, when you're stressed out, okay, your brain understands that you could just go eat something yummy, right? Or enjoy something delicious and get comfortable. You could just cuddle up on the couch, right? And with your favorite, bag of popcorn, and that would feel really comfy. So when you start to see how your brain is driving you to do these habitual behaviors that serve these purposes, it totally makes sense. And then the last one is conserve energy. Do what's easy. This is why our entire country is built upon this premise of doing what is easy. Think about all of the convenience services, the convenience products that are out there. We are a society that has become pro at not breaking a sweat and having every single thing we need to survive without effort, right? Like we can literally expend no physical exertion and survive. Survive without effort. And so when you know this about your brain, you don't necessarily want to heed its constant direction to do these 3 things, because that part of your brain is only concerned about this moment in time. It doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't care about how you're going to feel tomorrow about this decision. It wants you only to do these 3 things. And if you are unconscious, if you are living your life this way, then it's going to be really difficult for you to be able to do the uncomfortable thing, right? Go work out or allow an urge instead of reward it. It's going to be really hard for you to choose that healthy food the healthy food that still tastes good, but not as good as, a burger with fries. So once you understand that this is the narrative, the prompting and the urging through words in your mind, that's why it's there, and it should be doing that, and it's doing a very, very good job of that, and we are thankful for that, but it doesn't serve us most of the time anymore, okay? And so when you know that, and you hear the brain object, you need to go do the laundry, you need to do whatever it is that needs to get done, and you don't want to, When you hear your brain object and say, no, just stay home. No, don't go do that. Like, let's just enjoy. Let's just hang out on the couch. Let's just eat the thing, right? You can say, oh, of course, that's what you want me to do. It always happens this way. Whenever I'm here in this environment with these opportunities, you always suggest this. In fact, I taught you this with years of behaviors and patterns that I want to break, that I want to shed. When your brain offers you the idea that it's time for you to go get the ice cream and sit down with your family after dinner, of course it's doing that. It does that every night at that time in that environment. And you can just say to it, oh, of course, you're here saying this now. Thank you. And no, your opinion is noted. You can go sit on the bench. However it is that you want to respond in that moment when you hear the same prompting, the same words, the same offer that your brain is giving to you in that moment, you get good at watching it do the same things, right? The things that have got you in the past, hook, line, and sinker to follow that instant gratification, and you're committed to breaking that habit. When it shows up, as you have taught it to do over all those years, I want you to expect it, to welcome it, to acknowledge it, and then to just say, hey, we're not doing that. It's like a big pile of poop on a trail that you're walking on, okay? And you know there's a horse up ahead. Yeah, there's going to be poop on the trail, right? Oh, there's the poop. Yep, I saw the horse. Yeah, it's going to be there. And then you just step over it and keep moving in the direction you want to go. That is exactly how you deal with these kinds of thoughts, but you must become aware of them in order to recognize them for what they are and to see the patterns. How your brain is just pulling the same tricks, trying to get you to go along with this agenda that isn't in your higher good. It's not for your greater good. It's not going to help you reach your goals. So that's the first tool. Know that when it's time to go do the thing you don't want to do, or your brain is saying, I don't want to do that, you say, well, of course you don't, right? Your opinion is noted. It's not useful, and I'm going to do it anyway. Right? You don't just believe it. You don't just obey it. You note it. Oh yeah, of course, there you are. Of course you don't want to do that right now. But 3 hours ago when we were thinking about it, we wanted to do that. So that's my higher self. That's my prefrontal cortex, the part of my brain that knows what I really want. And that's the second tool that I want to teach you, is always choosing what you really want. In the moment that you're like, I don't want to do the laundry. I don't want to go for a walk. I don't want to, go grocery shopping. I don't want a meal plan. Whatever it is. I don't want to check my blood sugar. I don't want to take my medication, okay? Your brain's going to say to you that same thing it always says, and you're going to be focused on what you don't want. That is a crappy place to live, right? Can you imagine going through your whole day thinking about all the things you don't want? That is actually what many people do. When they're unconscious, when they're not watching what their brain is doing, the brain will focus on all the things it doesn't want. And you know what's sad about that is you actually bring into your life what you are thinking about. What you put your focus and attention on is what you put your energy into. Now, that was a little bit of a side, but if you are focused constantly on what you don't want, you're not giving any attention to what it is you do want. Okay, what does that mean? Well, if you don't want to do the laundry in this moment, why did you decide that you wanted to do the laundry when you got home? Like a few hours ago. If you don't want to cook dinner in this moment, why did you decide that tonight was a good night for you to make that meal that you planned and you shopped for? Okay, what you've got to do is direct your brain with intention to what it is you really do want. The part of your mind that thinks about that is different from the part of the mind that's giving you all those excuses right now. The part of your mind that knows what you really want and thinks about your greater good, thinks about your future, thinks about the pros and the cons, knows why you wanted to cook that meal tonight, why you wanted to follow your plan today, why you wanted to go on a hike with friends this weekend, whatever it is that your brain is objecting to in the moment. And so what I want you to do is to go to the place of the thing you want. in your mind, right? Think about the reasons why you made those decisions, hours ago or days ago. You made those decisions because they're for a purpose. They're meaningful. They're going to help you reach a goal, something you really, really want. And so in the moment, I want you to focus your mind on what it is you really want and choose that. Okay, when your brain is saying, I don't want to, choose what you really want. Okay, and then the third thing I want to teach you in the moment that has helped me so much to get me going, to get me up and moving toward the thing that it is that I really want, that my brain is saying I don't want to, right? Let me just tell you a story before I tell you what this trick is. I decided with my husband that it would be fun to run an ultra marathon a few years ago. Okay, it sounds crazy, but we wanted to run a 50K, 32 miles, okay? And I've signed up for this like advertisement thing called vacation races, right? It sounds like an oxymoron, but it's a thing and it actually is really fun. They hold races in attractive locations. And I was shopping for a place that was like at a national park down south that would be really fun to go to. And I landed on Zion National Park. And so just outside of Zion National Park, from that little town of Hurricane, you can get to the trailhead and run this race at a certain date. This one was the one that I chose to run was a 50K, but there were people there who were running, 100 miles. We just want to do the 50K. Now, training for that in the winter in Montana sucks ass. Okay. Sorry, there's no other way to put it. You're going to have to get up every weekend and you're going to have to run many, many miles in bad weather. And if you can't do it in the bad weather, you're going to have to do it on a treadmill. You're going to have to get up and run 12 miles on a treadmill with a water pack on. Hours and hours of running on Saturdays, right? And I had to actually pay somebody, a babysitter, to come to my house and watch my kids so that me and my husband could go run for 3 hours. And so I had to pay $100 to go run in the winter 3 miles. It was just brutal. Okay. Why did I do this? I don't know. I'm glad I did it. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. What do I really want? Okay. So what I found was that some mornings or even the day before, my brain would be like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do that. Oh, look at the weather. It's going to be so cold. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go run, 15 miles today. Oh, please, let's do something else today. Let's just forget about this, okay? And what I noticed is that when my mind is objecting like that, it totally makes sense, okay? Of course. Okay, that's point number 1. Of course, you don't want to do that. Number 2, what I really want is to run this race with my husband in April and finish it. And then number 3, this is the best trick. I would give myself permission to not do it. But I had to at least take the first step. Okay, so what that looks like is I would say to my brain, you know what? I hear you. This is probably going to be not very much fun and it might suck, but you've got to get out there and at least get started. Just get dressed, get out there, run a mile, and if you feel so bad, we can just go home. Now, I know about myself that once I get started, ain't nothing going to stop me. Not even a freaking train's going to stop me. And so I know that about myself. So I knew that if I could just get myself out there and get myself putting one foot in front of the next, I would finish. I would run the whatever period of, distance I needed to run for that day. I do this a lot with working out in the basement too. I love to watch workout videos. My favorite are 21 Day Fix beach body workouts. I've used them for years and they're 30 minutes. I can do them anytime. My kids can be running around or jumping on the bouncy house or whatever while I get my workout in. And sometimes I don't want to do it, right? But you know what I could say to my brain? Just go down there and push play. If I can just get my brain to push play by telling it a story. Like if it's really sucks, then, you can just take it easy, do the light weights, just don't do as many reps, just don't get so out of breath, take it easy. And if I could just believe that in the moment, I would get dressed, I will go down there, I will push play. And you know what? Once I get beyond that, ain't nothing going to stop me. That's the truth, because I usually am good at making one decision to do it, and then I don't, waffle. I don't go back and forth in the middle of that. So those are the 3 things that I wanted to teach you today about what to do when your brain is telling you, I don't want to, but you really do want to. It's something that you really want badly, and you have found that's hard to motivate yourself in the moment to go after. All right, that is a lot of fun for me to talk about. I love this topic. And of course, if you're a person who is still struggling to figure out why you can't just do the thing, right? Your brain is winning when you go to do the thing, when you go to meal plan, you go to grocery shop, you go to cook, you go to work out, whatever it is, you keep falling back into that old habit, right? Of doing what's easy, of doing what feels good, doing what gets you comfortable. You are normal. And this is why coaching is so powerful. It helps you learn how to make decisions differently. Like the person who doesn't have diabetes. That's literally what you must do. You must learn to think and be the person who does not have diabetes anymore in order for you to reverse your disease. And that's hard, right? That is a difficult thing to challenge yourself to do, is to become a person who's already solved the problem when you are in the middle of having the problem. Coaching is what helps you light your way to that person. It helps you learn how you are making decisions that are keeping you stuck and keeping you quitting and keeping you discouraged, so that you can get out of your own way and make those moves and make those decisions and take the action that you need in order for you to reach your goals. So you can find out more about how to coach with me at sarahtownley.com. That's my website. And I hope that I get to meet you and hear your story and see how I can help you. All right, I will see you guys on the next podcast. High five for tuning in with me today. You are getting smarter and stronger when you show up for yourself this way. You can get more free tools to help you control type 2 diabetes on my website, sarahtownley.com. And if you're serious about ending your struggle with diabetes, join my membership, The Diabetes Revolution, where you work with me in a community of people just like you. See you on the next episode.